Hello everyone and welcome to Power Rangers Stories. Here I bring you the untold and what could have been stories. So sit back, relax and get ready to listen to some more phenomenal adventures. Also don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell to get notifications on the latest videos. And may the power protect you. Ninja Storm, the Pink Ninja Ranger. Chapter 28, General Deception, Part 2. Previously. Zoey looked around, confused. Why am I back in the field? Seeing the war raging all around, she fell to her knees in pain. Her head, throbbing like the beat of a drum, swam in and out of focus. What happened? The Rangers. The Zords. Zergaine. Feeling faint, she looked over at the bright red light coming in her direction. Though her vision was fading, she saw an outline in the red light. A phoenix? Zoey. Feeling hands shaking her shoulders, Zoey struggled back into consciousness. Zoey. Wake up. Hearing Jenna next to her, the Pink Ranger sat up. The intercom crackled with the other Rangers, calling for her to wake up. What happened? You passed out after that last blast from Zergaine. Jenna patted her shoulder. Looking out at the battlefield, Zoey saw Zergaine laughing. He moved in to attack the Wind Megazord, but Cam and the Lightning Rangers blocked it. What? Zergaine exclaimed in surprise. Before he knew it, Cam took the star off his Zord and slashed the faceless general with it. Whoa! Shane exclaimed once the Wind Megazord was back up. Where did you get that mode, Cam? I am the one in charge of upgrades, remember? The genius pointed to himself, proudly. Pretty sweet, Shane gave him a thumbs up. Cam looked around quickly as Zergaine rushed at him. He was knocked aside when the Thunder Megazord blasted him with lasers. The Lightning Zord slashed its stinger blade in an arch, causing the general to fall back. You guys ready to finish this? Hunter asked. Let's do it. Shane called. Yeah. Locked and dropped. They dropped their discs and called on the Ninja Firebird to create the Hurricane Megazord. They activated the Typhoon and was able to destroy Zergaine's Zord. Yeah. No more Zergaine, the Rangers celebrated their victory happily. Don't be so sure. Cam shook his head, the only one not cheering. Zergaine's smart, he reminded them. But we trashed his Zord. Hunter frowned, not understanding why Cam was still wary. Even if he got out, he's got nothing, Dustin nodded as he looked around. Cam's right. Zoey agreed, something doesn't feel right. It was just too easy. She looked to the side and muttered, almost like he wants. Trailing off, she looked back at her friends. I just feel unsettled about the whole thing. You call that easy? Blake demanded in disbelief. No one's saying the fight itself was easy, Jenna piped in, but we've had tougher fights with him. And it felt like he wanted us to destroy the Zord. Whatever the case, there's nothing we can do about it right now. So, go back to your campsite, Cam told them. I've got to check something at Ninja Ops, he decided. I'll come with you, Tori told him. I'm over the whole camping thing, she muttered irritably. We'll come too. Jenna said, pointing to Raina, we weren't planning on joining that monstrosity of a resort, anyways. Hunter poked her in the side. Let us know if you find anything out, Shane said, laughing as he turned to face the Green Ranger. In the meantime, we're gonna go enjoy ourselves. I will, Cam nodded. And keep your eyes open out there. Cam, Tori, Jenna and Raina went to Ninja Ops with the Zords, while the remaining Rangers returned to the campsite. Walking down the path back to camp, Zoey was trailing behind the boys, half listening to their conversation. Her mind kept shooting back to her little waking dream during the Zord fight. Flashes of a bright red phoenix kept popping up in her head. Man, I don't know if I can sit out here and have a good time after all this stuff, Hunter commented. I just need to chill out for a while. I, for one, need to fill my grill. Dustin rubbed his hands together, causing Zoey to look at him funny. Cheeseburgers, here I come. Pickles. Blake looked over at everyone. Tell me someone brought pickles. Man, I can't have cheeseburgers without pickles. You're telling me? Andy agreed, putting a hand on the Navy Ranger's shoulder. Pickles are like an American staple. You have to have them for a cheeseburger. Shane held up a hand. Chill, dudes, I brought them. Zoey rolled her eyes as he also rubbed his hands in anticipation, seconds away from a meal fit for a king. Or queen. She interjected, making the boys look back at her. What? Did you forget I was back here? Seeing their blank looks, Zoey put a hand on her hip in indignation. Hello. I was on this camping trip too, you guys. She walked past them to head to her tent when she came to a stop in the middle of the clearing. What the hell? The boys stopped to see what was wrong before yelling their own expletives of outrage and running to the center of their camp. Everything had been trashed. Oh, no. Dustin said in despair. I don't believe this. Blake walked over to the grill in anger. This cannot be happening. This whole nature thing's for the birds, the Earth Ninja said. I say we bag it and go find some greasy fast food. Yeah, sure, Shane said. Let's all take your car. Dustin just looked at him. Dude, you know I don't have a car. When Shane turned away, rolling his eyes, Dustin crossed his arms nodding. Oh, right. I get you. We're stuck. Stranded. Grounded. Hunter threw up his arms. We're the cast from Survivor. Blake chuckled. This whole trip is turning out to be one bad idea. Oh, come on, guys. Shane said encouragingly, we're ninjas. Trained to use what's around us. Haven't you heard the saying, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade? Dustin just put his hands in his pockets, looking confused. Well, I didn't see any lemon trees around here, and between you and me, lemonade really isn't going to do it for me right now. Shane put a hand on his head before leaning down and grabbing a couple of buckets. It's a saying. He said, tossing a bucket to Dustin. Let's see what does grow around here. Right. Spread out, guys. Their leader continued, nobody comes back without any food. The other boys grabbed whatever they could find on the ground and took off for the trees, completely forgetting Zoey and Andy. They had perched themselves on the picnic table between their tents to watch the others. When do you think they'll remember that your Jeep and trailer are covered in camouflage tarps in the woods behind us? Andy asked, looking at his friend. Probably about the same time they'll remember that I have a military cooler with 3 different locks on it in my tent. She smiled at him. I peeked inside. All of our stuff and our food are still good. Well, I think it helps that we have actual survival equipment. He handed her the bag of chips he pulled out of a box from his tent. You can't rip the tents, break any of the boxes, or pop open the locks. Yep. Our survival skills learned, not just from scouts, but from our brothers, really paid off. Laughing, they went inside her tent to make sandwiches. It wasn't long before their communicators went off. Guys, it's Cam, the genius commented, making the 2 friends grin at each other. Like, who else would it be? Sorry to tell you this, but we've got another emergency on our hands, he reported. I hear you, Cam. Shane spoke up. With you, bro. Blake answered next. On my way. Hunter called into his morpher. Right behind you, dude. Dustin nodded. This is Zoey. Andy and I are on our way. The 2 stepped out of their tents and looked at each other nodding. Ready? Ready. Firestorm. Lightning storm. Ranger form. Ha! Ranger storm power. After morphing, they arrived at the battle in the Hurricane Megazord. What's the deal? Shane growled, frustrated. I'm back, and you're through. Zergaine called out, ready for victory. Zergaine, I knew it, Cam yelled. Let's take him out. Shane called. The Hurricane Megazord moved to attack Zergaine's sword, but it seemed like nothing happened. Using the red star on the chest of the Megazord as a weapon, they slashed it down on the villainous sword's chest. What? Reyna exclaimed, what the hell? We didn't even scratch it. What's the matter, Rangers? You aren't surprised, are you? Zergaine laughed before firing one of the Zord's fists at them. Look out! Shane yelled. As the fist came at them, the Hurricane Megazord jumped into the air to avoid it. They swung the star at the Zord again, but it did nothing to the faceless general and his sword. I have another surprise for you, Zergaine declared. Power disc. Locked and dropped. Seeing a power sphere come out of the evil Zord sent outrage and shock through the Rangers. I knew something was wrong earlier, Zoey commented. I felt it. No way. It's a power sphere. What a poser. Dustin and Andy exclaimed together. I knew it. Cam looked over at Zoey and Jenna, knowing they had felt it too. This is brutal. Totally brutal. That's right. A power sphere, cloned from your own technology, the general laughed. Your move. You can't use our powers against us. Shane yelled angrily. We'll just see about that, Zergaine said as the power sphere opened up, revealing a long sword. Maximum power. He slashed the blade down at the Rangers' own Zord and broke the shield that they had called on to defend themselves with. Whoa. Hang on, guys. Shane called out as everyone had to grab onto the consoles to steady the shaking. The Rangers cried out as Zergaine attacked them several more times, causing electrical shocks through the Zord and sending it crashing to the ground. We're hit. Shane yelled. We're down. The entire cockpit sparked like crazy. Is everyone all right? Tori asked, trying to sit up. There was a series of groans from the others before Zergaine appeared over them. Unable to get back up, they watched helplessly as he pressed his sword against their Zord's head. Now, for the final strike. Zergaine declared, Goodbye, Rangers, he roared, lifting his sword over his head to finish them off. As everyone yelled out, Cam reacted instantly, pulling out the lightning rift blaster, Mammoth Zord. Online. Playing the guitar, he summoned the powerful Zord, which tossed a power sphere at Zergaine and hit him from behind. Zergaine was distracted long enough for the Hurricane Megazord to punch his Zord in the stomach and knock him into the Mammoth Zord's path. He turned to face it as it got ready to hit him. Never send an elephant to do an alien's job, Zergaine told them before sending an energy blast, causing an explosion, and freezing the mammoth in place. He's immobilized it. Cam yelled in horror. I can't believe it. Shane exclaimed, let's put a new spin on this thing. He commanded as Zergaine turned back to face them. The star on the front of their Zord started to spin quickly once more for their typhoon attack. Sorry, Zergaine rasped, not this time. Batter up. He threw an energy blast through the wind at them, paralyzing their Zord. Rangers, come back to Ninja Ops at once, Sensei's voice sounded over the intercoms. Use the Ninja Firebird to cloak your retreat. Oh man. Shane let out a frustrated yell. On our way, Sensei. The Firebird flew overhead, creating a smoke screen, causing the Rangers and the Mammoth Zord to disappear. The Rangers crowded around the mainframe while Cam worked, trying to repair the Zords as quickly as possible. They watched as Zergaine continued to destroy buildings in Blue Bay Harbor. He's using our powers to attack the city, Shane pointed out. He must have copied them during that first fight. Jenna said, leaning her head on Hunter's shoulder, that's why it was so easy to take him down. And we walked right into it. We've got to get back out there, Hunter insisted, his arm around Jenna. Cam shook his head in frustration. I need more time before the Zords will be ready to battle again. How are we gonna fight that thing without the Zords? Tori asked. Think, Rangers, Sensei told them, bouncing off Dustin's head to land on the desk in front of them. What other resources are at your disposal? He asked. What about the gliders? Dustin suggested. And the tsunami cycles. Blake pointed out. Excellent thinking, Sensei approved. Individually, your weapons would be overpowered. But together, your resources will be significant. The Rangers nodded in agreement. All right. Follow my lead, guys. Shane looked at everyone. Maybe we can draw him out of that thing, he suggested. Right behind you, Tori nodded. I'll bring the Zords when they're repaired. Good luck. Cam called as everyone but Jenna and Zoey Ninja streaked out of ops. Something wrong? The girls looked at each other for a moment, ignoring Cam's question. I don't care if it's not part of our ninja training. Zoey spoke, looking at her partner. I say, it's time Zergaine learns what it feels like to have a can of Pai Zuk Whoop ass opened up on his sorry behind. Agreed, Jenna nodded, but let's go a step further. We got those dino powers for a reason. I say we use them. No more Ms. Nice Girl. The girls looked at Sensei and Cam, nodded to each other, and Ninja streaked out to join the others. They scare me sometimes. Cam said, wide-eyed, turning back to the mainframe as Sensei nodded in agreement. Hey, Zergaine. Shane yelled, as he, Tori and Dustin flew in on their gliders. You gonna hide in that thing all day? Hunter, Blake, Zoey, Jenna, Raina and Andy rode in on their cycles. About time we got our own bikes. Andy said, shooting a beam at the Zord. Quit complaining. Cam's been working overtime with being a ranger and the tech guy. Cut him some slack, Mr. Sensitive. Raina snapped before goading Zergaine herself. Hey. No face. We're waiting. She yelled, still waiting for Zoey to explain that. Yeah. Come out and face us. Jenna goaded. Or are you too scared? Hunter taunted. What? Zergaine growled as they attacked his sword. They hit it with multiple blasts, causing him to get frustrated. Look, Dustin yelled, no Zords. Come and get us. Tori added, flying past on her glider. Enough of this foolishness. Zergaine yelled before he jumped out of his Zord, attacking the wind ninjas and knocking them out of the sky. As they landed, the others regrouped with them as Zergaine landed nearby. I'll fight you on my own. Good luck with that. Zoey said as she and Jenna pulled out their glaives. I mean, this is the only time you of all people have had any luck. And you had to resort to stealing our Zord's powers. Laughing, she pointed her weapon at him. Come on then. Fight us. Prove that you're not just a cheap Goldar knockoff. Damn girl. Jenna nudged her, not holding back, are you? Not anymore. I know of this Goldar. He was weak. Died like the rest of that pathetic alliance. Zergaine laughed. Really? The Pink Ranger asked sarcastically, are we talking about the same Goldar? The one who, after being trapped with his Empress in a prison on the moon for 10,000 years, spent over 4 years fighting the mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Zeo Rangers? The one who, on his own, captured those same Rangers multiple times and sent them to dark dimensions? The same one who could make himself big instead of relying on a Zord? The same one who had magic of his own, instead of what some PAM could do? That same Goldar? Are you actually defending Goldar? Jenna just looked at her. Hey. I call them as I see them. Goldar was a worthy adversary. A warrior. And he was loyal to Lord Zed and Rita. Rito included. How many of Lothor's generals can say the same thing? Jenna just shrugged. You've got a point. I've had enough of this insolence. The faceless general growled in anger. He drew his swords and got ready to attack. Go time. Shane called, and they ran at Zergaine. Zoey and Jenna attacked first, but Zergaine deflected their blades and blasted them back. Hunter, Blake, and Andy went next, but Zergaine used his swords to block their staffs, then slashed across their chests and sending them to the ground. He turned as Shane, Tori, Dustin, and Raina blasted him, but he deflected their attacks, before sending a blast of his own at them and forcing them to the ground. Everyone kept coming, but no matter what happened, Zergaine was able to block, defend, and attack. Finally, the Wind Rangers had enough. Storm Striker. Dustin called as he, Shane, and Tori combined their weapons and aimed it at Zergaine. Fire. They fired a blast into the air, where a 100-ton metal ball appeared, and fell down towards Zergaine. But the general sliced through it with his swords. What? Wait. There's more. He tossed his swords into the air and held out his hands. He turned and blasted the Rangers. They screamed in pain and hit the ground once again, and with another laugh, Zergaine caught his swords easily. No way. Hunter groaned as they regrouped. He came towards them, but was sent flying from a blast of energy from behind. He looked around as Zoey was lowering her hand. You little brat. I'll make you pay for that. You've been threatening to make us pay for months, Zergaine. Jenna stated, raising her own hand, it's time we quit playing around. Combing her cryokinesis with her weather powers, she sent a massive icy cyclone at the general. The hit sent him flying into a building and covering him in ice. Time it? Zoey asked, pretending to look at her watch. 3, 2, 1. She held up both her hands just as Zergaine busted out of the block of ice. Don't blink. Twisting her arms up, she manipulated the light, blinding him to his surroundings. Think of it as a kaleidoscope. The ice ninja nodded. I like it. She looked at her partner, aware of the others trying to regroup and get back to their feet. Together? Always. As he grabbed his swords, the girls called forth their Pai-Suk training for help. They gathered up their energy around them, calling on the spirit animal's aura. Call to the beast inside. Unchain the wolf. Call to the beast inside. Release the fox. A giant white wolf and pink fox shot out and hurled themselves at Zergaine. The faceless general was unprepared for the power behind the attack and flew into another building. After a quiet moment, Zergaine stood back up, laughing. Guys. This isn't working. Cam. We're running out of options, Shane cried into his morpher as they all struggled to get to their feet. Got it. Cam replied. I'm on my way, and I'm bringing some backup. About freaking time. Andy muttered. Moments later, the Rangers cheered as Cam arrived with the Zords. If that's the way you want it, Zergaine snarled. To the Zord, he declared, leaping back up into his own Zord. I'm back in the saddle, and I'm ready to ride. It's on now. Shane called, and they leapt into their own Zords, and forming 4 separate Megazords. Zergaine fired a laser fist, hitting the Thunder Megazord, and causing a shockwave to hit the others as well. When he raised his sword to strike them, blast of lasers hit him from the side. Cam finally made it, flying in on the Samurai Star Chopper towards the battle, changing into its Megazord form. Time to call out the hurricane. Shane called, holding a power disc. You got it. Hunter nodded. Yeah. Cam said. Let's do it. Andy agreed. Hope this goes better than last time. Zoey shook her head. Locked and dropped. Calling on the Firebird, they were able to form the Hurricane Megazord again, hoping they had better luck this time. Give it your best shot. Zergaine growled. The Hurricane Megazord lifted the red star from its chest and faced off against the general. Charge! Shane yelled. They ran forward to attack, but Zergaine's sword was faster. He blocked and then slashed at the Rangers, causing them to stumble backwards. This is brutal. Andy complained, trying to maintain control. Full power. Shane yelled, as they slashed the star down, only for Zergaine to disappear before their very eyes. "He's fast, but he's not that fast," Zoey complained. "Where did he go?" As they looked around, Zergaine's sword reappeared behind them, hitting them with his sword, once more. As they staggered back, he spun the sword in a 360 motion and slashed at them with its energy. "It's over for you," Zergaine declared. "Not even close," Cam yelled, holding up the lightning rift blaster. "Mammoth sword, let's rock," he called, as he began to play to summon the mammoth sword. Zergaine blasted the sword, but this time it didn't faze it. "Give up," Zergaine ordered as his anger grew again. "He's on repeat again," Zoey smirked, "but this is one broken record. I don't mind trashing." "We'll never give up," Shane yelled. They combined with Mammoth Sword and called on all their power spheres. They lined up and opened before attaching themselves to the mammoth, adding to their power. "Huh?" The faceless general looked on as the giant sword kept coming at him. "Ready?" Shane asked. "Ready." Everyone sounded off together, ready for victory. "Fire." They sent a massive blast at Zergaine, causing him to cry out as his sword was finally destroyed. "Here we are," Tori announced, getting out of the van with Cam, Raina, and Jenna. "I can't believe these guys still wanted to go camping after all this," Tori commented as they walked towards the campsite. "I just want to go to sleep," she grumbled. "Me too," Cam agreed. "I just didn't want them thinking I was, well, lame." "Me too," Tori admitted with a guilty smile. They stopped at the clearing as they found 4 out of the 6 asleep in their chairs. "Wow." Raina giggled, looking at the boys. "Seriously? They look like they didn't even make it to their tent." "I bet Zergaine's in worse shape than them," Cam commented. "No doubt," Tori grinned. She looked over as Zoey and Andy came out of the woods, wearing workout clothes. "Where did you two go?" "Probably for a run," Jenna said, catching the water Zoey tossed at her. "Zoey always has an excess amount of energy. Been like that since we were kids. And Andy here, like his older brother, likes to do katas early in the morning. It's very annoying." Raina agreed. "Now, Jenna and I aren't as tired as you two, just because of how we grew up," she pointed to the nodding heads she was receiving. "Seriously, you've got to train with our brothers, but these two exhaust me. And I run on electricity." She shrugged at the looks her words received. "What she means is," Andy poked her, "being a lightning ninja, you have an excess amount of energy on standby. Normally. But I've always been a morning person. So, I have more energy than the normal lightning ninja. And you don't know tired until you've spent a week at one of my brother's training expeditions, disguised as a camping trip," Zoey stated, rolling her eyes. "Plus, I don't sleep very much. Never have. Not even as a kid." She looked at her friends. "Who wants to play Poke the Ranger?" "I still owe Blake a beating. I knew he was going to jinx us. I just knew it." Everyone laughed as they walked over to torture their friends. Another victory. That's it for Chapter 28 of Ninja Storm, the Pink Ninja Ranger. I'll be having a lot more of this series out soon, continuing the Pink Ranger story. Remember, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. As always, may the power protect you, and see you for the next adventure.